Skip carefully, Jill. If you step on a crack, you'll break every bone in your poor mother's back. There's a black cat. He's crossing the lawn. If he crosses your path, your luck will be gone. Be careful now, Jill, for you'll surely be sadder if you run to the house under the ladder. All day long, Jill has been defying superstitions. But this doesn't seem to worry her. You might think that she's been doing it on purpose. What's that superstition about broken mirrors? 7 years bad luck when you break a mirror. Nothing but nothing could be any clearer. But Jill has learned that breaking the mirror was accidental, and it had nothing at all to do with bringing her bad luck. Bad luck is a superstition. She has learned that superstitions aren't based on facts. Today, she can look at her reflection and think only of how silly the broken mirror makes her look. She herself can hardly believe that not so long ago her mind was full of superstitions. She dreaded Friday the 13th, and any old wives' tale impressed her, like this one. Your mother will tell you, for maids to be fair, eat bread crust and carrots to put curl in your hair. Jill really believed superstitions. Breaking a mirror, 7 years bad luck. She doesn't want to cry, but breaking her mirror, what could be worse? Jill's brother Bob is studying science. Still, he understands why she's crying. Not so long ago, he was superstitious himself. Bob explains to Jill that the idea of bad luck associated with broken mirrors goes far back into primitive history. The only mirrors then were pools. When a sudden disturbance marred the reflection, it was thought that the person, too, was harmed, as if by magic. Like Bob, someday Jill will learn that a broken mirror cannot bring her 7 years bad luck. This is a superstition. And a superstition is a belief arising from a false explanation of something in nature. Even Jill has a book that tells how absurd superstitions can be. The book tells about superstitions and myths concerning the animal world, such as this fire-breathing dragon supposedly killed by St. George. When the fastest method of transportation was by horseback, what more natural than to hope a horse would sprout wings and go even faster? And so came about the myth of Pegasus, the story of the winged horse. The centaur of Greek mythology, a wild, lawless being, half man, half horse, is probably the image constructed from tales told by frightened travelers who had seen in far-off places wild and savage horsemen. The fire-breathing dragon is a fearsome idea, and no doubt was exaggerated from the reports of travelers in the Far East who had seen the Chinese alligator. This alligator is real enough, but he breathes air just like other animals. Only through centuries of storytelling did he become the fearsome, fire-breathing dragon. It used to be said that to own or to touch a turtle brought good fortune. Turtles, especially giant turtles like these, have excellent health and live to great age. Thus, in some way, their ability to live long and healthily was believed to rub off on the owner. Bob takes Jill to the zoo to look at more animals about which there are some strange myths. They visit little foxes, said to be cunning and quick. The truth is, foxes are quick enough, but according to naturalists, They aren't smart or cunning at all. You've heard the phrase, a wolf in sheep's clothing? This means that the wolf is a fierce animal pretending to be mild and gentle like a lamb. But he really isn't wearing a costume. He's merely shedding his heavy winter coat, which appears like lamb's wool. The ostrich is a strange bird that can't fly. He has long legs and a very long neck that he can bend and turn in almost any direction. It's said of the ostrich that at the sign of danger he buries his head in the sand and thinks he's safe from attack, since he believes his enemies can't see him. This is just a story, a myth really. You see, there isn't much sand where the ostrich lives. The earth and stones are too hard for him to dig a hole for his head that quickly. He does peck at the ground for food and water, and his head is so flat that from a short distance it does seem that he has buried his head in the ground. He really has very little brain capacity and isn't very bright at all. The elephant, on the other hand, has the reputation of possessing great intelligence and a great memory. The belief, "an elephant never forgets," is a superstition that probably comes from the elephant's majestic bearing and slow walk. Something so large must be very wise and intelligent. While the elephant is more intelligent and has a better memory than some animals, he does forget things from time to time, and he does forget people, sometimes even his owner or trainers. Ideas that seem to sound right but have no real basis in fact we call superstitions. All of these strange attitudes gave rise to myths that have grown up over long periods of time. On their way home, they are reminded of another superstition by a four-leafed clover. They look at it together, and Bob tells Jill that even this is merely a freak of nature. Clover is a three-leaved plant. Unusual forms of familiar things are often thought to bring good luck, and so the four-leafed clover became the subject of a superstition. There is no good fortune in any clover, with 4 leaves or with 3. Back at home, Jill and Bob look out the window. And as they remember the fun they've had, they think of still another superstition they've heard. If March comes in like a lion, it goes out like a lamb. And this in turn reminds them of the superstition, rain before 7, shine by 11. So you see, there are superstitions about many things, including the weather. There is a way to find out about these things, so next day Bob takes Jill to the Weather Bureau to ask about them. The meteorologist says that he will have to look up the records before he can answer them, before he can say with certainty that these old sayings are true or false. He tells them how carefully the Weather Bureau collects data and refers to them for many years. On the roof, instruments measure the direction and speed of the wind. Others collect rain as it falls. Still others measure temperature and humidity. Inside, all this information can be seen on special electronic equipment, and it's recorded. Similar observations come in by teletype from many other weather stations in the region. From all this information, many facts emerge. Charts are prepared, weather charts of all kinds, tables that record the winds and the rain, all kinds of useful information about the weather. From these records, Jill and Bob learn that rain before 7, shine by 11, and March comes in like a lion are definitely not true for everywhere and must be superstitions. This is the way of science, to collect all the available facts, to record these observations, and to organize them so that they can be properly related to each other, and, by this means, provide a basis for a better understanding of the world around us. This method is the direct opposite of superstition, which depends on myth and old wives' tales. At last, Jill understands. Jill no longer fears the mirror she's broken, and Friday the 13th she knows for pure hokum. A ladder won't stop her. She walks underneath, but keeps her eyes open for safety rules, please. As for black cats, their paths she'll cross. Her superstitions to the winds she'll toss. Now, Jill doesn't fret if she steps on a crack. She knows how to tell superstition from fact.